Hey, everybody, what is happening in your part of the world? Hopefully you're having a great day today. Now, thanks for tuning into the show. As usual, if you are a listener, you know what this is all about. If you're new, look, you know what we do on the show, man? This show's about entrepreneurship. We talk about entrepreneurship through the lens of a real estate agent. And look, if you don't sell real estate, that's fine. The stuff that we talk about will work in any business. Now, today's episode, I have to say, is brought to you by real estate radio experts. If you don't know, radio is the secret weapon of most of these top producers. Somewhere in their whole marketing campaign, there's a radio initiative. So if you guys want to level up, dude, do radio. Go to realestateradioexperts.com, fill out the getting started sheet, and let's chat. All right, so today's episode, what we talk about now, this is a duo. This is a husband and wife team, which is always an interesting dynamic because, how do you literally work together? Wake up together, go to work together, go to sleep together, try to, have a life outside of, I don't know how people do that, honestly. I think that it's got to be frustrating to, not to always bring your work problems home and talk about them over coffee or lunch or dinner or whatever. So we talk about some of the dynamics now. And these two people, by the way, they're doing 150 deals a year. Now, their background is in the real estate business, so we talk about how they did that transition. And in what we talk about a lot of little nuggets. We talk about how to jumpstart your business and how they jumpstarted theirs. And we talk about their model. Their model is 40% is new construction. And by the way, they're in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, I think. So 40% new construction. So we're going to talk about how they land some of those clients and how maybe you can too. 50% of their business is referral, 50, that's big. So we talk about how they work their sphere, how they work their past clients to get that 50%. Hold on, you know what we talk about? How they put together at the beginning of the year a total marketing plan for the whole year. They sit down in January and go, okay, look, this is exactly what we're going to do. This is when we're going to do this email drip. They don't necessarily write out the content, but they put it on a calendar. This is what we're going to do this month, this week, boom, 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 for the full year. And that keeps them, helps them stay on track, which I think was a pretty interesting idea. And then we talk about some little nuggets that they do, right? How they send out lottery tickets. And that's some of the ways, or one of the ways that they get, they juice that referral thing. Okay. So, before we get to it, as you know, hashtag for the show is Unpack That Idea. My Twitter handle is Super Agents Live, so would love to see you on Twitter. What's that? What else? That's it. Well, you know what? The last thing. Look, guys, I'm looking for real estate radio. I'm looking for an outside salesperson. So you can be I'm in San Diego. You can be wherever. It doesn't matter. It's an outside sales position. If you want to work with me, I'll absolutely coach you, help you out along. Hopefully you have some deep skills already, but I'll help you get better. And if working in this space allows you to talk with, people like today's guests or some of these other top producers across the nation. So, all right, hit me up with an email. Let's get to it. Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first $1 million in real estate. Yeah. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah.
On the show today, I'm excited to talk to today's guest. Now, today's guest is a husband and wife duo, which that's always interesting to talk with, and they are in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This year, they're going to do about 150 deals, right? Just with the two of them, they're going to do 150 deals. Their average sales $225. So I'm thrilled to welcome Lauren and Steven Smith. Hey, guys, thanks for taking the time out today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem. So look, I've given the audience sort of just a nuts and bolts overview of what your business looks like, but take a minute, either one of you, and tell us a little bit about yourselves. I always like to get a feeling for who the person is behind the business.
Okay. Well, I'm Laura Smith from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and this is going on my 11th year. In a few months, I'll be at RE/MAX for 11 years. I love it. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. And we have a little girl who's 8 years old. So I love the business because it's flexible. I'm able to make it to all of her stuff and get her from carpool every day, and yet still, have a successful career.
Yep. And I am Stephen Smith, and I have also been in the business for almost 11 years. What got me in the business was Laura actually has 3 months of seniority over me.
I'm more experienced.
That's right. 3 months more experience. And actually, I was in the restaurant business, and when Laura started bringing home commissions checks, I was looking at that, and one commission check was more than I was making with my salary in a month. So it was an easy transition for me to follow suit and get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I see that all the time, and it's always an interesting dynamic for me is when, the wife sells real estate, and you can have a successful corporate guy, but, the corp guy might be making 150 grand. He's doing well, but then the wife is killing it selling real estate. It's got to be tough for that guy.
So he got in the business 3 months after me, and then we've worked together ever since.
That's right.
So okay. Now, Stephen, you were in the restaurant business. No, well, hold on, Laura. What did you do before? Were you a mom before you got in the real estate world, or what did you do?
No, we were in the restaurant business together, and then I just said, you know what? I've always wanted to do real estate. Before we had children and everything, I'm getting my license, and then it just kind of just went from there.
So, did you being in the? I don't know what that means, really, being in the restaurant biz. I mean, what does that mean? Did you manage a restaurant? Did you wait tables, or what is that? What did you do?
We were restaurant owners.
Oh, okay.
So we were able to sell the business, get out of the business, get into real estate.
Good for you.
Laura got into real estate, and then once she started bringing commissions home, and I'm working 100 hours a week, and scraping pennies together. Anybody in the restaurant business can tell you it's just very, very difficult. We decided to sell, and once we did that, I stayed on and did that while Laura got her license and got her business going. And I started out, and we were in different sides of the real estate business getting into it. She was on the existing side, and my focus was on-site new construction. And we had a big builder through our office, and I did on-site sales for that builder for my first 3 years in the business.
Okay, that's good. We'll talk about that in a second. So, Laura, for you and Stephen, both of you, did you guys, being that you owned a restaurant, I'm sure you knew a ton of people. Everybody wants to know the guy who owns the restaurant. Did you come to the business with a list?
Well, what we did right when we got in the business is we made a list of our circle of influence. Everybody that we knew, maybe from the restaurant, from church, from clubs, from friends, relatives, everybody that we could ever think of. And we started a drip marketing campaign, just letting people know, hey, we're in the business. And we joined a dynamic team right away. And so we were around experienced people, and we were able just to take off and go. And we're both really hard workers. You have to be
right.
Restaurant, real estate, whatever you are. And so we weren't scared. We just went into it and got it done.
So you started mining your sphere. Now, did you? So you're both hard workers, a good work ethic. What was your first year like? Let me ask that. We'll start there.
Our first year was outstanding, actually, because when we got into it, Hurricane Katrina actually happened in New Orleans, and it was tough from the situation what was going on in New Orleans, but what it brought was a ton of people from New Orleans. They relocated to Baton Rouge. So our market turned upside down on its head with the influx of people. It was a wild time. So it was not a traditional first year for us.
Yeah.
We were blown and going before Hurricane Katrina, but then after that it was like a year like you've never seen in a marketplace. It was crazy. And
what happened is a lot of people got away from the flood zones and into a safer area. Away from where hurricanes and floodings and things like that happen again. So our market is a little bit safer. So a lot of people would travel about an hour to relocate their families into a safer environment.
Got it. So timing helps. If you can hit with that timing, business and that matters. So let's talk about after that. So that the whole Katrina thing dies down, the market normalizes to some extent. Yeah. What did I want to know how you got to, because look, here's the hurdle, right? For most people, the hurdle is getting to 20 And then the next one is 50, and then the next one's 100. And once you hit 100, like sky's the limit. You can do 400, 500 because you should have the systems in place.
Right.
Again, not using the Katrina story or component. What did you do to get to the first 20 or 50?
I mean, I think it's most important that circle of influence, and don't just hit your people one time. You want to consistently, come up with something where you're reminding them maybe every 3 or 4 weeks that you're in the business, whether it's an email, a text, a postcard. That's the number one is who do you know? And who also don't be scared to ask those people, okay, well, maybe you're not in the market, but do you have a relative that is? We would love a referral. So, of course, circle of influence, Facebook, of course, and wearing your name tag constantly. I can't tell you how many houses, I've sold from getting my nails done or being in the grocery store.
Yeah.
Things like that. So wear your name tag and don't be timid to let people know that you're in the business.
Yeah, shamelessly promote. Go ahead,
and picking up where Laura left off, too, we were not scared, our first several years to do open house every weekend.
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Wow.
We didn't take any Sundays off. It was we knew we had to jumpstart our business, and we knew that the people that we knew were limited. So we had to do something to jumpstart our business. So we did open houses every weekend, met people, and, through the years, you stay in contact with those people. We set up a marketing campaign at the beginning of every year, so we're touching those people. And then the people that send us business, referral business, of course, we're hitting them harder and doing nice things for them. They send us more referrals, and we kind of grow our business that way. So, you definitely got to get your hands dirty and get in there and be willing to work and give up your weekends in order to take your business off, because we like to play hard too. And now we're able to do that more because of the sacrifices we made early in our career.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So help break this down, guys. So out of that 150 deals you're going to do this year, tell me the numbers that's going to come from your sphere, the number that's going to come from referrals, and the number that's going to come from your Stevens new construction angle.
It's with the new construction, probably this year will be roughly about 40%.
Okay.
We have 7 new construction subdivisions and 4 builders that we've grown our business into.
Wow.
About 40% of that will come from that. Our sphere of influence and our referral business, we kind of joined together, per se, because those people that were clients are now really good friends. We go to dinner with, they come to our house, we go to their house, our kids are the same age, whatever. So it kind of commingled somewhat. So really,
but the rest of it is going to be referrals from past clients.
Yeah.
And then probably only 10% of it is going to be just from new business.
Right. That's
wow.
Right.
Okay. So is it fair to say that you get 40% new construction, 50% sphere past clients, referrals, and 10% new biz?
That's right.
We won't have much new business. We've got such a strong referral. And I guess maybe everybody says that, but we really do. Almost every listing that we get is just a referral or a past client. So our marketing is very minimal because we just work our past clients for referrals.
And also, it's fair to say too, with our new construction business, you're also looking at new business and new construction business kind of coming together. If that makes sense. Because,
yeah, no.
With us having all that new construction, those are people we probably wouldn't have gotten if we wouldn't be representing the builders.
Okay, so that's interesting. That's really interesting, the breakup here. So when it comes to Laura, you said earlier, you touched your sphere, every 3 to 4 weeks and reminded them that they're in the business. What was that touch like, and what was that messaging like?
Well, at the end of November, we come up with a system for what's going to happen for the following year. So I'll go through it, and not to be cheesy or mushy or anything like that, but honestly, with our clients, we try to put their needs ahead of ours and never sell a house that we're not proud of selling, putting a family somewhere. We want to make sure that it's a safe, good area, a healthy home, and people can feel that from you.
Yeah.
So if you do a good job and they know that you're really looking out for them and their family, they're going to send you business. So anyway, in November, we'll come up with the marketing plan for the entire next year, where every 3 to 4 weeks they're getting touched, whether it's emailing just a general email to all our past clients and friends and family, a new listing that came on the market. Or like down here, we have a Mardi Gras parade. So we create a postcard that has a Mardi Gras schedule so that all the families know which parades are on which days and which locations. And people always look forward to getting our postcard. They'll put it on the refrigerator. We send out for St. Patrick's Day to everybody. I go get lottery tickets. They're $1. And I send out a mail out to our top clients where for St. Patrick's Day, they get a card in the mail from us wishing them luck with a little lotto ticket in it. People absolutely. Isn't that cute?
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's interesting.
So I'm trying to do just creative things all year long, even sending out. Steven's an excellent cook. And so if he comes up with a really good recipe, from us being in the restaurant business before, we'll send out an email with that. People love that too. Just creative things that other people would not be doing.
Yeah. No, well, here's the deal. So what I like about that what that lottery ticket thing is it's like when you send out an email, right? You want to get as big an open rate as possible, and with mailers, for the most part, people will see, okay, that's Laura sending me, Steven sending me something again, and they throw it in the trash. Now you get an impression, right? You get people, it triggers them. Okay, yeah, Laura and Steven are in the business, but if they know, I'm sure they look forward, like, hey, what's coming up next? Because I'm going to get a lot. Yeah. I'm going to get something. That is an interesting thing. Now, where did you?
It's $1. They get so excited. And if somebody sends me a referral, I'll either send them a lotto ticket or I'll send them like a free ice cream at McDonald's or PT's Coffee House, something like that. Thanks for the referral. So we're constantly sending out little prizes.
And it works because we just took a listing. It was a condo that I had sold when I was 5 minutes into the real estate business. And here we are, 10 years later, and she calls me to list. And, I haven't spoken to her in 10 years, but through our marketing efforts, we've sent her stuff over the past 10 years. And we sit down, and I asked her, my first question was, what made you pick up the phone and call me? And she was like, I really don't know. And she looked over to her left, and she had a magnet with the LSU football schedule on it. And she was like, it's because I've gotten this stuff from you over the past 10 years, and you're the first name I thought of when it came to real estate. So, just those little things that we did over the past 10 years is a listing. So those things work. People think that they don't work, but they do because it keeps you top of mind. Yeah, no, I agree.
So is all your follow-up, and I think what I was trying to get out of you is I think when typical people go, excuse me, people know that they need to follow up with their sphere, but they might know what to say the first one or two times on a call, but then after that they're like, I don't know what to say. So you guys don't necessarily call your sphere. You do more mailings than actual physical calling, or
in the beginning the calling is there, but then once you build up such a client base, you just physically can't do it anymore. But I would suggest to, a brand new agent, it's not so much calling and telling them something, it's more calling and asking them something. So, for instance, just asking, hey, I really like you and your family. I'm just wondering, is there anyone that you know of that's, buying or selling? It's not being afraid to ask for the business.
Yeah.
Or, somebody you recently sold a house too. I've done it too, where I've been in a neighborhood where I recently sold a house and I hadn't talked to that person, in let's say 60 days or so, and just pick up the phone and say, hey, I was in your neighborhood, how's everything going? How's the move? Just touching base and just asking, is there anybody else that, that's looking to buy or sell? Definitely think of me, and asking for the business. And you can't be afraid to ask for it. Right. You'll hear us say that a million times.
Yep. No.
If your sphere of influence has bought or sold something, a good question to ask them is, when you used your realtor, what things did you like that they did, and what things could they improve on? Because as a new agent, that's a great question to be asking, just constantly, so you can learn, the pros and the cons.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. So again, going back early on, you guys did every Sunday. You did an open house. Tell me about those. What were you trying to accomplish with those?
Well, we made a kind of a deal with ourselves that on every Sunday, unless it was our birthday or if it was going to be Christmas or something like that, that we would do the open house for a year. And we would make sure that we had very good directional. We would make sure that we had great signage, balloons on the signs, and then we would be at a very, high traffic, I guess, house to make sure that we had a lot of people coming in. And one good thing to do for an open house is to print all the active available houses in the area. That way, of course, your first obligation is to sell the house that you're in. But if the house is listed for $250 and a client comes in, they're approved for $185, well, you have houses available on the counter that are in their price range. So you can immediately say, okay, well, this one's $250. However, I'm available on Tuesday if you'd like to go see. I have a current list of all the houses between $175 and $185 right here. When you're a buyer's agent, the buyer needs to be hiring a professional, and it's going to save them time, money, gas. There's no reason to not hire a professional buyer's agent to help you get the job done.
Right.
So that was our goal, was picking up buyers while we're at the open houses and coming up with a system to follow up with them. And I would suggest any new agent to please do open houses, as many as you can. And yeah, maybe, one open house, somebody doesn't, you might have no one there. But then the next one, you might have 3 or 4 come. So don't give up.
Right. And then just following up one thing, with Laura and I, our goal was to get an appointment. It was when we were doing an open house, we were going to get one appointment from somebody coming in. If there was one person that came to the open house, believe it, we were going to get an appointment. We were going to get contact information. That something was going to happen, and that was our focus, was to get that at least one appointment for all open houses, because that's how you're going to build your business. If somebody's walking through the door and you're like, hey, it's Sunday, enjoy yourself, whatever, and you don't really engage them, then they're going to come in and they're going to leave. So we're very proactive in speaking with them and asking them questions and trying to figure out what they're wanting. We really want to help them. So, and then from there, it was just, getting the appointment from there with them to follow up with them and continue on helping them buy a house.
Okay, yeah. So here's the funny thing is, what I'm hearing on the show is that a lot of people are doing open houses, but they're doing them not to find buyers, but people don't, they find listing leads from those open houses. Did you find that at all or no?
Find listings?
Definitely.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you'll have just a nosy neighbor that wants to see their competition.
Yeah.
So that's a great point. The other thing that we do is print out the market analysis to bring with you in case you have any sellers that walk in. And maybe they don't live in this particular subdivision, but you can show them what a market analysis would basically look at, and then get their contact information and tell them you call them the next day with the market analysis for their subdivision.
Now, did you guys knock the neighborhood to let everybody know, hey, listen, this is going to be open this Sunday?
I don't think that we did. I know a lot of agents that have. It's just not something we ever did.
No, because our signage is so good. Anybody that's in the subdivision, if they're leaving and coming, they're going to know that there is an open house, and our directionals are so good, and our signage is so good. You're not going to miss it.
Got it. Okay. Now, you guys in the note when we booked you have 2 buyer's agents that you use. How do you, seeing that only 10% of your business is new, how are you using those buyer's agents today?
One of the buyer's agents is completely new construction, so he's at one of our subdivisions, and he's going to do all of his business from the subdivision. The subdivision is located in an excellent area where new home buyers are just walking in left and right. It's at a great price point, great school district, near the interstate, you name it. So that's where he is. And then the other buyer's agent, she is going to be doing the open houses at our listings and then working with our referral business. And like I said, I'm a mom, so I pick up my little girl every day at 3. So showing property in the evenings to my past clients and things like that is something that she's going to be doing.
Okay. And that's interesting. So one of the other things that you said, do you have any admin at all, or who does all the paperwork for you guys?
We do, yes. We have a full-time assistant and a part-time assistant, okay. And our assistant has been with us for going on 5 years now, and then we have a social media guru that we brought on just to help us with the new and latest, greatest technology. Just as we know, most people aren't picking up the phones and calling us like they used to. They're looking on all the social media and the websites. We want to make sure our stuff is in pristine condition and everything's correct and updated.
So we're starting on our social media campaign, I think next month.
Right.
And what I mean, can you share what that looks like?
Well, we laugh because, I mean, Stephen and I are very good at selling houses, but we are not that great on the internet, computer,
Sure.
And so, and both of us are kind of hyper, so we can't really sit down and, get a lot of that stuff done. So we hired somebody for her. She knows, more about it with Facebook and
Okay.
Twitter and all that. So we recognize where we fall short, and we hired somebody to take that over.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, she's going to Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that's great. Recognizing, this is E-Myth Revisited, right? Double down on the things that you're great at and outsource the rest. Because if you're not good at it, you're going to be slow. You're not going to like it. So I think that's a really good tip that's a really good takeaway, right? Outsource what you're not good at, what you don't know.
Outsource, yes.
Yeah, we do that all the time. I mean, it's funny because it's even in our personal life. I am not good at painting light fixtures or something like that. So Laura wanted to swap out our ceiling, our fans outside. So I hired somebody to do it. It's just hire a professional, for sure. Let the professional do their job.
Yeah. So one last thing before we start to wrap up. In the show notes or in the booking notes, you said something very interesting. You said, I don't know if I can pull it up here quick enough. You use the disc profile on your leads, and I don't quite understand what that is, but maybe explain that to the audience.
Okay, so the disc profile it basically states that each person could be a specific personality type, and it's GISC. So you learn about each 4 personality types and what is important to them and what is not important to them. Then once you can identify what personality type, it really helps you sell to them. So anybody can go on Google or YouTube and learn a lot about it, but it's really helped me. If you have a high C personality, that's typically your engineer, your accountant, they're going to need a lot of facts and figures and charts and graphs. And so you're going to know if you're showing a house to a high C personality, you really need to have all the charts and graphs and information for each house. Where a personality type like a high D is not going to want all that information. And actually, if you give them too much information, you might lose them as a client.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 99D, 99I, so I just let's just get to it, right? So, but how do you, how do you identify? And the audience is pretty familiar with what DISC is, but because we talk about it all the time. But how do you identify? How do you say I just met Ricky and Ricky's an IS? I mean, how do you do that? It's just a gut feeling for you guys?
Well, I can tell by their shoes.
Yeah, shoes, shirt, like a D is going to dress in solid colors, black, whatever. And you can tell within the first couple questions.
Where they work?
Yeah, I mean, what they are. It's pretty quick, and maybe it's just something internally from us because it comes subconsciously to us.
It takes a little while to learn it, but then once you got it, you got it.
Yeah, so if I'm sitting across from you and just ask you a question and how you answer it, I pretty much know what personality type you are and how to approach you.
Got it. Okay. So I always wrap up these asking the same exact 3 questions. So the first one, for both of you, who has been a mentor to you guys? You can answer it individually, obviously.
I think a lot of our coworkers and things like there's a lot of top realtors at RE/MAX that, are great to go and ask anybody getting in the business. I would definitely recommend going to somebody that's been in the business for at least 10, 20 years and just ask. There's so many nice people in real estate that find somebody in your office that is your go-to person. I mean, trust me, you need somebody. So it's going to be other realtors, no doubt.
Yep. Okay. And I think that's a great thing. People do want to share, right? And I think, earlier you said, don't be afraid to ask for the business. And I think that everybody out there should not be afraid to say, hey, listen, identify somebody that they like, they respect, and say, listen, I would like to, I'm going to model you, and I'd love to would you be open for me to call you every other week and spend 10 minutes with me, or even once a month? And I think that that's the thing that people don't do enough. Look, we always want to know what people like you read, and hopefully you do read. I'm getting a sense that you may not read, but here's a setup to the next question. It's this. I'm an aspiring agent. I have $25. What book should I go buy today?
Ooh, well, I'm reading one right now called Take the Stairs.
Yep, Rory Vaden.
Yeah, there you go. I think I would recommend that one.
Yeah.
Take the Stairs.
Rory,
it's just not taking the easy way out, Choose the life that you want to have and then go for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, Rory Vaden, R-O-R-Y, for the audience, Rory Vaden, Take the Stairs. It was a best-selling book, and he just wrote a new one. I got an unpublished copy or a pre-published copy called Procrastinate on Purpose, and I really liked Procrastinate on Purpose. So if you guys in the audience have not read either one of those books, get a free copy on us. Just use our link, audibletrial.com/superagentslive. Now, to wrap up, guys, I wanted to know this from both of you. Laura, you said earlier that both of you guys, neither one of you can stand still. You're always very antsy. But do you, Laura, have a personal habit that you think has contributed to your success?
Constant communication with my clients. I want my clients to feel important. It's not about me. It's about them. And it's constantly texting them, calling them. If I send them some new properties, then I text them to let them know I sent some new properties.
Okay, and then so when you say constant communication, what is that? What is that? Is that a touch once a day, once every other day?
If it's my listing, and I work with all of our existing listings, I try to let them hear from me every 2 to 3 days. Even if it's to say, "Hey, happy Tuesday, hope you have a great day."
Interesting.
I mean, when I have their listing, I am there, available. Happy Mardi Gras, happy Valentine's Day. They hear from me constantly. And if it's a buyer, if they're a buyer, that meaning they're going to be buying in less than a month, they'll hear from me every day or every other day.
Huh. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. I got to think about that one for a little bit. And what about you, Stephen? Well, no, I think it's a good tip. And again, I'm thinking really, I'll be honest with you. I'm thinking about how I should use that in our radio arm, right? So we have clients that we represent, and they spend a lot of money with us. I mean, they spend, every month between $3,000 and $20,000 on radio advertising. And I'm just wondering, I tend not to touch them unless there's an issue, and I'm just wondering if I should implement that and how I would do that.
Well, and I don't know, that's been my key to my success, but I'm pretty intense, so I want people to know they are important to me. I'm a high I, so I'm a people person.
Yeah.
And, when they're working with me, I'm available, I'm there, I care about them, and, hey, happy Tuesday. I don't know what to tell you.
Sure.
And I get more people that send me back a smiling face, hey, Laura, have a great day.
Right.
And I'll even shoot people a text and say, man, I'm really sorry we haven't had any showings this week, but, the market's about to pick up. We're going into buying season. So, even if it's a bad news thing,
yeah,
at least I'm communicating. I don't want to just not talk to them at all.
Okay. That's a good tip.
Another thing is to work a lead and until it dies. I find that a lot of newer agents, they'll tend to give up quickly if there's no satisfaction, very fast. They're not selling the house very fast. They'll tend to give up on that person. And then to come to find out, you talk to that agent later on and come to find out they bought a house through someone else.
Yeah.
So it's, just continuing to work that lead and not giving up and staying in front of them until they tell you to go away.
Absolutely, man. No, I think that's a great tip, Stephen. I mean, I literally flew back from Orlando yesterday, and I spent the last 3 days at Keller Williams family reunion, and I talked with this guy Ben Kenny that we had on the show, and Ben does something. So he does 10 days of pain when he gets a lead. He touches them 7 times a day for 10 days. 10 days. It is crazy. That's what 10 days of pain. And look, from that crazy thing, he was named Inman's most innovative guy, or like Inman's marketing innovator, something crazy. And again, it's just like being a super pest, but it works for him. He's a top guy. What about you, Stephen? Do you have a personal habit you feel has contributed to your success?
Just definitely the main thing is just the never give up attitude. and a lot of my business is focusing on my builders now. I kind of transitioned to a different phase of my career. I've got 4 different builders, like I said, with 7 different subdivisions. So catering to them and keeping them up to date with the market trends, all the different things, price points, what to build, the holes in the market, all those things that tie into the new construction building. So that keeps me pretty busy with all that.
Okay. Well, that's great. Listen, guys, I always, encourage my audience, if they've gotten anything out of this episode, to reach out and say thank you. So where can people find you guys?
Well, let's see. They can, our website, teamsmithrealestate.com. And then hopefully once we get our social media straight, it'll be Team Smith Real Estate on Facebook.
Got it. Okay, great. Well, look, and everybody, if you're walking your dog, riding your bike, whatever you're doing, mowing your lawn, all this stuff will be on the show notes at superagentslive.com. And look, guys, I'll be the first one to kick off the thank you train. I appreciate you taking your time out of your busy day.
Thank you so
No
much.
problem. Thank you for having us.
Let's talk soon.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15%